Existential isolation is far more than just the physical separation from other people. To be human is to find ourselves at times experiencing a private and deeply personal stream of subjective thoughts, desires, intentions, and feelings. At any given moment, the first-person existential space that we take up has occupancy for one. Not only do I possess or claim ownership of this body in a way that no one else could, but I am the lead and sometimes sole author of possibilities that I appropriate as my own. Yet as much as we are differentiated from one another, the self and other are so deeply intertwined that parts of the self can only be experienced through the other. Take again, for example, my physical body. As much as it makes sense to say that I have ownership of this particular body, parts of it, such as my own head and face, are more familiar to others. I rarely encounter my own face in my everyday existence. It's like my experience of the world, at least visually, seems to appear where my head is not. So a part of me, my head or face, seems to flee from me, and yet it is me, as regularly experienced by significant others in my life who are able to see me in part as an object or a figure standing against a world of things. This awareness of being seen as a potential object for others changes our self-understanding. Imagine being in a room and thinking you're alone. You mutter to yourself, or you find yourself humming a ridiculous tune, and then suddenly realize that there's someone watching. You experience yourself being experienced by another, and this allows you to be seen as an object in their eyes, which leads to the possibility of guilt or shame. All of this heightens the tension between self and other, and the sense of existential entanglement as well as estrangement. Our being in the world is in part a being with others, but our first-person existence is also hopelessly differentiated from others. The terrible anxiety that arises in dealing with this existential isolation may lead to inauthentic ways of coping. Two strategies described by Sartre are the masochistic and the sadistic styles of relating to others. The masochist deals with the problem of differentiation by denying one's separateness from the world and from others. The person psychologically fuses or merges with another. They may anxiously cling to another and look to them to define them, to tell them what to do, how to live, to implicitly say what their worth should amount to, and so on. It's a denial of the differentiated self. This kind of individual is spared the dread of existential isolation by reducing oneself to an object and fusing with the other. They refuse to take a stand on their own being and sacrifice their possibilities for the ones appropriated by the other. The sadist deals with the problem of differentiation by denying the other as a self, by reducing him or her to an object or thing to be humiliated, manipulated, or controlled. They refuse to recognize that they are partly defined by the other and deal with the problem of existential isolation by denying the other and world. Feelings of powerlessness and existential isolation are dealt with through an illusion of dominance and control. With the other reduced to an object, the sadist's sense of self is artificially inflated, but they fail to relate to others as a whole. Yalom suggests that masochism and sadism are two sides of the same coin. One seeks security by being swallowed by another, and the other by swallowing someone else. The existential therapist recognizes that we must all walk this fine line between differentiation and connection and deal with the anxieties involved in this unbridgeable chasm between our own lived existence and that of others. I hope you enjoyed this and the other introductory videos on existential therapy. Keep in mind that an existential approach is not a standalone mode of therapy, and many of these themes or ideas can be integrated into other approaches or used as they come up in therapy. Also keep in mind that many of these existential questions don't have easy answers, but I believe that there are many benefits that can arise from asking the tough questions. As always, if you liked the video, please take a minute and give it a thumbs up, leave some comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.